All right, Stokastic, here we go. It's your old pal EMac coming to you on a Saturday night here, a 90-minute show. We're doubling down. We're doing a little deeper dive / live before locks. We'll go game by game. I am joined by Neil Orfield, stepping out away from the showdown streets of the Super Bowl to talk a little NBA. Neil, how's it been? It's been quite some time since I've had a chance to talk with you.
I don't think we've done a show since you were on High Stakes. Maybe that's not right, but I feel like it's been quite some time since we've been on a show together. I've obviously watched your shows. Is that right? Do you think?
It actually has been. I can't remember if we did High Stakes and it was either right before or right after, like literally 2 or 3 days on either side that we did our show together. I can't remember which.
Okay,
which,
yeah.
But you are correct. I saw you had another episode posted. You want to tell everybody who was the interview is?
Yeah, I just had Sean Zahn on for this past week. That was a fun interview. I had been, planning on having Sean Zahn on for quite some time. And I thought with NBA Bet Pro coming out, it was a good time to have him on. We talked a little bit of NBA Bet Pro and, of course, just his history with DFS and, life in general. It was a good interview.
I'm looking forward to that one. It's a good one. Sean's on. I got to hang out with him a little bit. I think it was the Nashville basketball championship last year, the DK basketball / hockey championship. I was a +1 of a proxy. So we got to meet a few of the behind the scenes Stokastic guys who were there. A couple of programmers. Sean's on was there as well. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And of course, Ship My Money was there. And then a bunch of people in the hockey streets that I know. Oh, Warren Kasoy, who you also did an interview with there on High Stakes. Yeah, he and I actually did the first weekend show ever back on Roto Grinders. He was about 18 years old. He was just out of high school and getting ready to go to university. And that was a lifetime ago. But yes, that was a lot of fun. But we're going to get into things tonight here. We are brought to you by PrizePicks, so we'll talk about those. Bet Pro, kind of a robust feature of some of our free PrizePicks tools that we have out there. But if you guys sign up either through the link below us here or by using the promo code Awesemo, still Awesemo, when you go to PrizePicks, they will get you a $100 deposit match on your first deposit, and we will get you 30 days of Stokastic premium content. That is a pretty sweet deal. We got 9 games out here? 8 games, Neil. Let's dive right in. We've got 57 minutes, and then we'll stay on for an extra 30. We'll get into some of those prize pick recommendations in that back 30 minutes there. So we're going to focus mostly on the analysis up front, since we have not had a show prior to us. So we're going to start off with the Denver Nuggets. They are favored by 8.5 tonight in Charlotte, taking on the Hornets there in Queen City. You've got Zeke Naji is out for Denver, currently questionable. Aaron Gordon dealing with a rib issue, and Jamal Murray. He has been ruled out.
Yeah.
How long ago?
Let me double check that. It was just.
You're right. That was 25 minutes ago. Oh, sweet. So they're both out.
Yeah.
So thank you. I was busy goofing around. Aaron Gordon is out and Jamal Murray out with those respective injuries that I just mentioned. So that is going to make the 2-time reigning NBA MVP look real good tonight. On the other side here, you've got with Charlotte, you've got Thomas Bryant is available to play tonight. He was traded from the Lakers to Denver. On the Charlotte side, no Cody Martin. He's dealing with a sore knee, and it's unlikely that we get Kai Jones. Those guys.
And I just throw in that Thomas Bryant. The latest is he's maybe available, but maybe not due to scheduling issues. So it's that is also up in the air as of like the past 15 minutes.
Interesting. All right. Well, it's funny that we're 48 hours removed from the trade deadline, and we still have ramifications because Gary Payton II that he did not meet the expectation of his physical. So that's a 4-team deal. We got Atlanta and who is it? Bay went over to their team. So we've got, just still messes around in some of these. So apologies for not having that, but could we make the 2-time reigning MVP any better? I think they just did.
It's going to look pretty good
in that one. And then on the other side, we've got some young centers there that are now getting into the mix. Kai Jones just ruled out. So let's dive on in here. What are you thinking with our first game? Because centers, we can play 2 of them on most sites. FanDuel, we can only play 1, but they did get generous with a couple power forward eligibilities here. You going with a Mark Williams or Jokic tonight if you're building if you had to choose between the 2 of them?
Don't make me choosy, Mac. I want to play both of them. If I have to choose just one of them, It's probably Jokic, just because Jokic is the highest projected player on the entire slate by exactly 10 fantasy points. He's the highest projected player on the slate by 10 fantasy points. I like Williams quite a bit as well. He's actually our best value, our best point per dollar play on the entire slate. So you're making me choose between two of the best plays on the entire slate. But if I have to choose one, it's going to be Jokic, just because we do have a lot of pretty good value here with, Denver, some mid-range value opening up, but then we've also got the same value that we've had for was it just last night that we had this exact same Zach Collins, Colin Sexton, THT, Devontae Graham? It was last night, it was the exact same value, more or less. We've got a ton of value. So if I had to choose one, it'd be Jokic, but honestly, they're both just great plays.
All right. Sorry. It was getting a little cold in here, so I had to put on some warm weather gear. Do you approve of this?
This is a great look for you, EMac.
I
see why you want me to put on my Scotch-Brite hat. Okay, now I understand the reasoning behind it. Yeah, no, I think you're pulling it off. I think we've got the old guys wearing their rugged looks here. I think it's good.
All right, I think we're going to need to make a trip to Home Depot if we have time after this show. So yes, we've got some fun here. We've got some fun. All right, let's see what happens when chat catches up with this. See if they approve of our wear. I always feel a little ridiculous in hats on the show because the way my lighting is, it does sort of get in the way. So I will take that off. But I will leave my nice warm Woolrich flannel on. This is the 100% wool. This is the real deal. You got to wear the shirt on underneath it because otherwise it's very scratchy. Yeah, very scratchy.
That's a great one.
All righty. So look at these two look ready for deer camp. That's the winning chat there. Yeah. Jake Swell says I look like Stone Cold Steve Austin. Actually, yes, end all Menards. We should be going to Menards after the show because this is the Midwest flair.
That's right.
We could still, and technically this is a Jimmy Johnson hat that I have from, he was my favorite driver way back in the day, but
nice.
Yes, that fits in with Menard since Paul Menard was a driver. All right, back onto the real stuff here. So anybody for the secondary options here for the Nuggets that you're interested in? This actually, the loss of some of the key Denver rotation players is going to make LaMelo Ball look a little bit better because now we're missing 2/5 of the starting lineup. That just kind of weakens the defensive scheme just a little bit here and there, plus with all of the other player movement, etc. Here, I'm actually liking this game. It could be some fantasy goodness here all around. Now that we're done joking around, wrap us up with this game, and then we'll get on with the rest of the analysis wearing our flannels.
Yeah, this is my first time ever doing a game-by-game breakdown on a live before lock. I've always been live before lock, and we just kind of shoot the shit and we answer questions and stuff. So this is first time doing this. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm with you. This is one of the better games on the entire slate. Just looking through some of our best value options, like KCP at 4,400. We've got him projected for 34 minutes tonight, 27 fantasy points at 4,400. Looks great. Bruce Brown at 5,100, one of our better point per dollar options. We've got him projected for right under 30 fantasy points, playing 31 minutes tonight. We can go back to Vlatko Kankar. Is that right? Kankar? I've never said his name out loud. Chanchar, yeah. He's 3,500 projected for 20 fantasy points. He looks fine. MPJ, we've got him as a decent point per dollar option. We've got him at projected for just over 34 fantasy points at 6,200. But I think the upside is really there for MPJ tonight against Charlotte. I really like that spot for MPJ. Even Ish Smith, Christian Brown, both look pretty solid as well. So we just have really a lot of options from Denver tonight who look great. Jokic, as I said, is the best play, or the highest projected play on the entire slate by 10 fantasy points over Luka Doncic, and Doncic is more expensive. So hard not to like Jokic, but then also KCP, Bruce Brown, Vlatko Kanchar, Michael Porter Jr., Ish Smith, and Christian Brown are all in play for me.
All righty. So the only not even slight concern we have, but this was back-to-back here for Charlotte. They lost last night, 127-116 to Boston. Going from memory here, I think it was 33 minutes there for Williams at center. He and who's the backup? Nick Richards. So they are essentially splitting the minutes here. Both of them are underpriced for that particular role with Mason Plumlee out of town. Richards is good leverage directly off Williams. You can play them together last night, and I just closed. I hate when you close out the
31 and 17 last night. Mark Williams played 31. Nick Richards played 17. So
there we go. 17 minutes. I believe he had 8.7 rebounds and like a block or something like that. So he could kind of get there, but they're splitting those 48 minutes. They have not yet shared the court together. It's unlikely that they will in most circumstances, but there is one of your direct leverage plays off of Williams, so that, and potentially Jokic. But I would be more terrified to not have one of these two guys on my lineup tonight.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts here?
Yeah. So it is interesting coming off the back-to-back. Do you think it's likely that maybe Nick Richards plays a little bit more? I mean, last night, so it was 31-17 in Mark Williams' favor, but they had like kind of, it hasn't been consistent who gets to play in time there, like even as the backup when Plumlee was still there. So maybe there's some chance. Do you think there's a chance that like Richards gets closer to 24, or maybe even gets the bulk of minutes?
I don't think so. I would say 20. Yes, a little closer to 24. I would think our baseline reasonable range, like with an 80% certainty, would be 26 to 27 minutes.
Yep.
For Williams. And then if he's doing well and not in foul trouble, I think he had 4 fouls last night, but if he's doing well and not in foul trouble, he has a chance to get to 28, 29, 30. And with his productivity, that could be another 3 or 4 or 5 fantasy points, which is close to another 10% on his fantasy point total, or 10 to 15%. So, when you're looking for small little margins like that, yeah, it is a difference maker. But if he gets in foul trouble, all of a sudden we'd be saying the same thing about Richards, and he's going to get that time. But I think they're kind of cat.
Yep.
Once they get their salaries up, we're probably not going to want to play either one of them unless there is more certainty that 30 minutes is kind of the baseline for Williams, would be my guess, but that's either here.
I mean, Williams is a great fantasy point per minute guy, 1.2 fantasy points per minute on the year. As a starter, we've got him projected for just over 1 fantasy point per minute, so not quite as good as he has been for the season as a backup, which is pretty typical that you're going to generally score less fantasy points per minute as a starter. But I think Williams looks great here. If we're still projecting for over a fantasy point per minute as a starter, we've got him at 28 minutes, 29 fantasy points right now at 3,500. He's going to look great. But I think I probably wouldn't play them together. I agree with you that you could, like in a 150 set, maybe allow for it. I think what I might approach it, how I might approach it if I were doing a 150 set in Fantasy Cruncher is give like a negative boost of like 4% to Richards in my Williams lineup, something like that. Because I think you're right that you could, like if we do see a 24-24 split, both these guys are live to put up like 26, 27 fantasy points, and at their price tags, that would be certainly reasonable to have them both in your lineup. But I don't want to have it all that often with both of them just because they do offset each other completely. And more likely it's not going to be 24-24 because that's not the way they've been doing it. So certainly both in play. But then outside of those two, we have fine value on Charlotte. Terry Rozier actually looks pretty great at 7,500. We've got him projected for 39 fantasy points. That's really solid for a $7,500 price tag. Gordon Hayward looks okay at 4,900, projected for just over 25. I don't think I'm playing. LaMelo Ball, you can obviously go to 10,200, always live for a big game. I don't think you could play PJ Washington, throw him in a couple, but nobody else who looks like a really strong priority here.
All right, on to our next game. Indiana Pacers at Washington. This is a back-to-back for the Pacers. They lost last night at home, 117-104 to Phoenix. No major injury concerns there. Daniel Tice is dealing with the sore knee, so he's not going to play on consecutive nights. And then they've got George Hill and Jordan Nwora he'll return to the team via trade. They're not going to play tonight either. And then Washington is going to be without Kyle Kuzma. That makes Kristaps Porzingis look really, really good. Plus he has power forward eligibility across the board. So that is going to be a key with so many centers in play tonight. Bradley Beal, we'll see the price ticking down. He has not been nearly as good this year or last year as his, third team All-NBA year from 3 seasons ago, but he's still putting up similar numbers to to last year. He's someone that should flirt with 20 points, a handful of assists. Terrifying is the rest of the Washington Wizards aside from Denny Abdia. Abdia's price is coming up, but he is small forward, power forward, eligible on most of the sites. He is someone we can still look to in this matchup, which is should be a slightly pace up, and Indiana does not play a lot of defense. It's a good one for him. The rest of the Wizards, they've got everybody playing these days in the backcourt. You don't want any part of them unless someone were to be out. Jordan Goodwin's even in the rotation. The only guy not playing is, I can't even think of his name, whatever their first round pick was, which seems like yet another wasted pick for the Wizards here. They're so frustrating to be a fan of their team. On the other side, Indiana, you've got Tyrese Halliburton. Is he just not going to shoot anymore? Is that the thing, Neil? Like, look at his last 4 games. Horrible. Like, hasn't taken more than 12 field goal attempts per game. 3 tough defenses in there. I believe Miami, Cleveland, and I forget the other one, but they were at least above average. I think we'll see him return, to form tonight. Yeah. I hope so. I don't think he's harboring an injury because he's played 4 or 5 games since his layoff, so he should be good. And then Miles Turner, cast of thousands. We have so many centers. Miles Turner, just no interest to me tonight. With everybody else mostly healthy with the Pacers, this really feels like Halliburton, Porzingis, and Abdia with a little Bradley Beal. Point, counterpoint.
Yeah, so are we doing team by team or just the game overall? Because
just the whole game, since there's not that many to talk about here, and we've got 6 more to go. Unless there's something you would like to bring up.
Well, I'm just looking at our projections. Benedict Mathurin looks pretty good at 4,600. We've got him projected for like 26 fantasy points, so he looks playable. Not like a huge priority because we have so much value on the slate. Like, there are slates where he would look like one of our best values. Here he looks fine. He's projected for about 15% ownership. He's a solid point per dollar play. Nemhard, kind of similar. He's 3,900. We've got him projected for just over 21 fantasy points, so he looks okay. Aaron Nesmith, looks like 4,300, 21 fantasy points. Not a priority there. Yeah, I think that I'm with you. None of these guys are huge priorities for me. None of them are great point per dollar plays. If I were to play, the player that I have the most interest in from the Pacers would be Tyrese Halliburton, just because we know he has the ability to spike an upside. Doesn't look like a great point per dollar play, but he's coming in at just 4% ownership. So if we can get Halliburton at 4% ownership, I'm going to have some interest. Bradley Beal actually does look pretty great for us. What is he at? He's at, hang on, scrolling. He's at 7,400. We've got him projected for over 40 fantasy points. He looks like a pretty solid, mid-range point per dollar play. I do like Bradley Beal quite a bit. Avdia looks fine, projected for over 31 fantasy points at 5,900. That's nothing to sneeze at. Some interest there. Gafford looks kind of meh, like maybe in a 150 set I'd have a few shares. DeLone Wright, maybe I'd have a few shares in a 150 set. Kristaps, I'm getting actually a decent amount of Kristaps. He's power forward eligible, so that helps. It looks like a totally fine play. But I think that's about it as far as my interest goes. I guess Monty Morris looks like he's a perfectly fine project for 26 fantasy points at 5,200. He looks fine. But those are the only players that I think would be in my player pool.
Alrighty, let's continue on here. We got a little, we'll catch up a little bit because, chat, some of these games not going to be overly enticing here. Some of them going to be incredibly enticing. Yeah. Our next one, kind of confusing here. Miami Heat, last I checked, now I got to go check again. Did anything move? Miami Heat favored by just 1.5 going against Orlando. Miami will be without Victor Oladipo. They do have Tyler Hero, Haywood Highsmith, and Gabe Vincent available. Gary Harris was dealing with a sore adductor. He is available for Orlando. That means everybody's at full strength for the most part for these teams. Jalen Suggs will be coming off the bench tonight. I'm not really getting much of anybody on these. Normally, I like Lil Bam Adebayo, but plenty of centers tonight, and he really doesn't have power forward eligibility anymore, nor should he. What are you taking away from this game other than they all look like? If I had one player from this game on each lineup, would I be worried? No. Would I be shocked if I had more than 2? Yes.
Yeah, no, it's just not one of the better game environments on the anytime that the Heat are rarely one of the better game environments on the slate. We've got some players who, just looking at how much I got of them, I think I got 1 or 2 shares of Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, Tyler Hero, and Jimmy Butler in my 45 lineups, or maybe I got a 2 or 3 of each of these guys. Struce projected for 23 fantasy points at 3,900. That's a fine point per dollar play. Gabe Vincent, 26 fantasy points at 4,500. Another fine point per dollar play. Tyler Herro, Jimmy Butler, we know who they're projected for around where they should be for their price tags. Herro at 7,700, Butler at 8,400. So I'd say those are the 4 that I have any interest in playing. I don't think I really want to go to Caleb Martin, as you said. Bam Adebayo, no power forward eligibility, so kind of hard to get there. So yeah, for me, it's really just those 4 that I have any interest in: Strus, Vincent, Herro, Butler, and they're all like not a ton of interest there. Maybe I get to a little bit, but not high priorities. And then on the other side, I mean, Wendell Carter at 3.6% ownership is fine, but again, just doesn't have power forward. He's center only, so it's a little bit light given how much I'm interested in Jokic, and then getting to Mark Williams. It's hard for me to really want to play a ton of Wendell Carter. After that, like, nobody looks like a great point per dollar play. I guess you could get to Paolo Banchero at 7,600. He's somebody that I tend to play a little bit more, but I don't know that he has a ton of upside, especially in this matchup. Yeah, honestly, I don't think that I'm really going to anybody from the Magic.
The only body that popped up into my lineups, and I just ran 100 on FanDuel because I'm going to answer a super chat question here in just a sec. But Max Strus is on 5%, Gabe Vincent on 5%, and Jimmy Butler on 5%. That is it. Nobody else represented from this game. That feels about right. Not that I'd knock any of these guys out, but they're all coming in slightly right around. The best players are 5.0 points per $1,000, which is kind of the break point tonight. It looks like of when people are going to make your lineup or not. They'll need to have a little bit of randomness to get in there. So let's move on to our super chat here. $49.99. Shout out there to Brajal Patel. He says, hey, this is a donation for EMac 2024. What are your thoughts on paying up for Anthony Davis and Jokic together in a lineup on FanDuel? Thank you, guys. Good luck to everyone. Well, hey, what do you know? That's actually the second highest projected lineup that we have, running us in essentially an unencumbered crunch. I just hit it again, and I pulled it back to 20 because I just wanted to see what would happen here. But the second lineup that comes up is 318 points, and it's got Anthony Davis and Jokic. Now, your decision points here are that's going to cost you Mark Williams, which I think is totally fine in this situation. I probably want Jokic or Williams on all, if not at least 90% of my lineups, one of the two on 90% of my lineups. I may set a rule to have that happen, but it looks like that's probably going to happen on its own. And the important thing here is that you can still get Zach Collins at power forward, Kristaps Porzingis at power forward. You got Anthony Davis at power forward, and that's going to allow you to do this here. So I'm perfectly comfortable with that, and I think that is a savvy way to go. I think they're two of the better players on the night. While Davis can be somewhat infuriating, we'll get to him. This is a pretty good matchup. Golden State, way worse defense than the Bucks, and he put up 40 fantasy points against Golden State in the last game without LeBron. Not particularly great, but not bad by any stretch either, considering he's only been back for half a dozen games, or about 2 weeks since his return from injury. So hat tip again. Thank you for the $49.99 super chat. Next game, Neil, we've got the Utah Jazz, 6.5 point underdogs in New York, taking on the Knicks. This is a back-to-back for both teams. Utah won in Toronto last night, 122-116. New York lost in Philadelphia, 119-108. It looks like Hart is going to be available to play tonight for the Knicks. He was traded as part of the Cam Reddish deal. On the other side here, we're still waiting to see what's going on. I think we're waiting to see what's going on with Jordan Clarkson. He is in. He was out last night with a non-COVID related illness. And Russell Westbrook is not playing. He is going to most likely get a buyout at some point here, or he's just going to sit at home and collect his checks. Either way, he's going to be very, very wealthy. Very, very wealthy. What do you like from this game? Unlike the other game, I'm okay getting a variety of players coming into my lineups from here. A good environment, both teams on a back-to-back. And while Tibbs encourages defense, we haven't seen a lot of defense from his team recently.
Yeah. So I think for me, for this one, the majority of my interest is going to come from the Jazz side. I imagine that's probably the same for you as well. You're just getting great value from the Jazz side. Colin Sexton, once again, is one of our better values on the slate, projected for about 29 fantasy points at 4,000. We're projecting him for just under 32 minutes. Just looks like a great play as a starting point guard for the Jazz. Really like Colin Sexton. THT, he's probably not starting again, right? So he projects really well for us. I'm kind of actually surprised to see how well he projects for us. How many minutes did he end up playing last night? He played
a
27 minutes off the bench.
Yeah.
All right. So I get it. That does make sense. And he's playing with the bench unit. So if we're projecting for just 23 minutes and 23 fantasy points, just over 23 for both at 3,300, I guess it makes sense to get to some THC. It's a little bit like I don't want to jam in. Like I'm not confident in the minutes that we're going to get the same number of minutes. Right now, I'm just looking at my crunch. I have 78% EHD, and I'm definitely not comfortable with that as a backup, just because I don't think we can count on those 27 minutes necessarily. But he is somebody that I'll still want in my player pool. There's obviously a possibility that he plays 27 minutes again, and with the bench unit, he's probably going to have higher usage. So I do have interest in THT. I don't want the 78% that I have currently. So I'm going to have to get rid of some of that. Kelly Olynyk, just a great fantasy producer when he gets minutes. We've got him projected for 30 minutes and just under 30 minutes in this game. 27 fantasy points at 4,800 looks like a very solid play. You can play some Walker Kessler at 5,700. We got him projected for around 29 fantasy points. Looks okay. Jordan Clarkson definitely is going to be interesting as the one of the leaders now of the Jazz with everybody gone. I feel like, he projects just fine, right? His projection is right around 33 fantasy points at 6,600. But I do think there's a wide range of outcomes. Like I think the upside is higher with, Jared Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley, those guys, Mike Conley, all gone. I think that there's some chance that Jordan Clarkson takes on a little bit of a bigger role offensively and is just chucking it a little bit more. So I do kind of like Jordan Clarkson here. He doesn't, project out extremely well, but I think that he's still an interesting play just on as a, more of a focal point of the offense than he has been for the Jazz. Lauri Markkanen, same thing, is 9,200. Doesn't project extremely well for a 9,200 guy. Project for just 4.6% ownership, though. I think I'm going to try and get to a little bit above the field on Markkanen as well. How do you feel about the Jazz guys? Do you see it any differently with Clarkson and Markkanen? Like they don't project extremely well point per dollar. Do you think you have any interest there?
Yes, on FanDuel in particular. So Markkanen 7,600 on FanDuel, small forward, power forward eligibility is projecting for a tick under 40 fantasy points. I think that's reasonable. Walker Kessler, yet another center. I doubt I'll get much to him. I'd rather roll the dice with Kelly Olynyk because you get essentially similar upside, dicier downside, but he is power forward eligible there. Jordan Clarkson, I think, just takes a little tick away from Talen Horton-Tucker. However, I would expect Horton-Tucker to be probably in the closing lineup. My guess the closing lineup would be Markkanen, Clarkson, Sexton, Talen Horton-Tucker, and then probably Kelly Olynyk. That would give us 5. I don't think it would be Kessler, but depending on what opposing teams do, it could be Kessler, or we could play Kessler and Olynyk together and lose out on Talen Horton-Tucker. But the thought being with Beasley out, Beasley gone and Conley gone, we do have Jordan Clarkson tonight, but that's going to cost Udoka Azubuike. My apologies to his family for mispronouncing his name, Azubuike, and O'Shea Agbaji. They're not going to play much.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, those guys won't play much. But yeah, Jordan Clarkson for sure. I wasn't even factoring Jordan Clarkson in when I was mentioning that I'm not confident in THT's minutes, but that does. I mean, Jordan Clarkson, obviously a guy that they want to get to minutes more so than Agbaji. So yeah, I think that's another reason that THT is just a little bit. It's not a high confidence play when you're playing THT, but certainly somebody who's still going to be in my player pool.
All right, that takes us over to the Knickerbockers here. Julius Randle, a little bit spendy, 9,300 there on FanDuel. You've got Jalen Brunson, always fun if you're looking for points. Those are really the only two guys that I'm probably going to get in my lineups. We'll have to see how Josh Hart works in, but the literally do everything forward is going to be more of a contributor than Cam Reddish has been. That means that could go against RJ Barrett. It's probably going to hurt Quentin Grimes a little bit. By default, Emmanuel Quickly may lose a little bit. You could also see Jericho Sims and Obi Toppin losing just a little bit there via a trickle down, though they are likely to still split those 48 minutes with Isaiah Hartenstein, and the three of them will play center. Anything you want to call out from the Knickerbockers on DK in particular?
No, I think you covered it pretty well. I think, Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, definitely the guys I have the most interest in from the Knicks. Isaiah Hartenstein projects the best point per dollar, but still is projected for 23 fantasy points at 4,500. With all the value we have on the slate, he's certainly not a priority. RJ Barrett at 3.5% ownership is somebody that I think you could consider, probably not in my first, 5-10 lineups, but in a 150 set, I think I'd want to have some RJ Barrett in there. Yeah, I think that we do only have Josh Hart in right now for 25 minutes. And I don't think I've seen anything suggesting that he's necessarily limited. I mean, I think that it makes sense. We're expecting them to kind of ease him in. So that does make some sense, but just know that we're projecting Josh Hart for just 25 minutes. Of course, it could be plus or minus, 10. Like, I think there's a wide range of potential minutes for Josh Hart for the Knicks. So yeah, I'm not expecting that I'll be playing Josh Hart, but it's kind of interesting at 5,800. Yeah, but I think primarily it's Randall and Brunson are the players I have the most interest in from the Knicks, and even them not like a huge amount of interest, just a little bit.
Yeah, great. Another player that Tom Thibodeau can play at multiple positions. Perfect. Yeah. Exactly what he needs there. We'll have to see what happens on that one. All right, we are 28 minutes away from lock here. We're brought to you by PrizePicks. They are going to keep us around for an extra half hour, so we're going to talk about them after we get to the regular slate lock, or the main slate, if you will, lock. We've got 4 more games to go here. We caught up a little bit on time, and I see one more game I don't think we're going to talk too much about here, but it's not this next one. The San Antonio Spurs, 13.5-point underdogs in Atlanta, taking on the Hawks. This is a back-to-back for San Antonio. They lost last night in double overtime in Detroit. Atlanta, let's see. I'm sure they've updated their things since I've been here. So Saddiq Bey is not playing. Bruno Fernando not playing. Garrison Matthews also not playing. They do have Aaron Holiday available. For the Spurs, you've got Kem Birch not available. Romeo Langford and Doug McDermott both out. Jeremy Sohan has missed the last 4 games with a back issue. You've got Keldon Johnson, who was out the last game. He's available tonight. And Trey Jones, who's missed 3 or 4 games, he is back tonight. The only thing that makes me nervous here is who knows what Pop is going to do. So while we do like Zach Collins and we like him a lot, they have plenty of bodies here. They did play last night. And the other thing to remember, this season, there are only 2 players on the Spurs roster that are averaging over 30 minutes per game. That would be Devin Vassell, who's out, and then Keldon Johnson. They're at 31 and 32 minutes. Trey Jones is at 28 and change. Point being, would it shock you if you got 24 minutes from Collins, even if he starts after playing a healthy dose of minutes last night? That's my one concern. If we look to maybe use Jakob Poeltl as a bit of a proxy, he was averaging 26, and I'm going from memory here again, 26 and a half or 27 minutes in his starts. But they, of course, weren't running him to the ground because they knew they were going to trade him at some point. But that's the only concern I have with Collins, is I feel that 28 minutes is his appropriate baseline. If they hadn't played the night before, I think 28 to 30 is going to be his little range. I don't think many games over 30. Tonight, I could see 24 to 26, especially if they get down big. That's just my one concern there with him. And then Atlanta, I'm going to leave to you here. So go ahead and throw in your thoughts there on the Spurs, and then what are you seeing from Atlanta?
Yeah, so Zach Collins, I agree with you. Like, certainly we can't be confident in the minutes. We have him projected for around 28, but even if we put him in at 24 minutes, we'll still have him projected for 27.62 fantasy points at 4,100. So, like, even if he plays 24 minutes, he's still going to look like a pretty solid value. He's not going to look like somebody who the field should be playing more than 50% of, which is what we have him projected for, but still will look like a fine value. So it is definitely.
He won't be torpedoing your lineups, but I don't want to see a bunch of people bitching and moaning in chat if he only plays 25 minutes tonight.
Right.
That's definitely in the cards.
Yeah, that's definitely absolutely in the cards. Devontae Graham, man, I did not realize that Devontae Graham ended up playing 37. It was, of course, double overtime in that game. Yes. So things are very much skewed by the double overtime. But
and with Jones not being there, they needed extra ball handling. So
that's a good point too. Yeah, they had Jones out. Jones is expected to play again tonight, but 3,100 Devontae Graham. Playable-ish. We were only projecting him for 24 minutes, and we've got him just under 20 fantasy points at 3,100. Maybe you can play him. I think that Keldon Johnson actually looks great point per dollar. It's obviously a pretty solid matchup with the Hawks. We've got Keldon Johnson 6,800 projected for 36 fantasy points, so he looks pretty solid. Trey Jones, okay, maybe you can consider playing him. I don't think I'm going back to the Malachi Branham or Kata-based Jop, any of those kinds of guys in this game. So I think that's kind of my low. Like Zach Collins, one of the best point per dollar plays on the slate, the way we have him projected. He'll still be fine if he only plays 24 minutes. So I like Zach Collins quite a bit. Outside of Zach Collins, it'd probably be Keldon Johnson for me, and then maybe just a smattering of Devontae Graham, Trey Jones, probably nobody else from the Spurs. As far as the Hawks go, Trey Young looks like one of the better point per dollar spend up options on the slate. 9,500. We've got him projected for about 50 fantasy points. So he's making it into a lot of my lineups as things stand. He's making it into a lot of the Fields lineup as well, projected for 34% ownership. So, he looks like he's a play that I'm going to have in some lineups. Just know that when you play Trey Young, you're not getting away from the field. I'm actually curious where we have him in the boom bust. So let me check that out real quick. Yeah, so we've got him projected for 30% ownership, 30% chance of booming, 17% chance of being optimal. So it looks like he's a little bit overowned in the boom bust tool, depending on how much you want to value the boom percentage versus optimal percentage. It's always a give and take there, but certainly a fine play. I think Trey Young projects great for a $9,500 player. So I'll have some interest in Trey Young. Okongwu looks fine, projected for 21 fantasy points at 3,900. Not a priority for me. He's only center eligible, so I don't imagine I'm going to get to any Okongwu. Capella, kind of the same story. I think if I were going to get to one of them, it would actually be Capella, just because I think he's got more upside for a $5,900 player. Like, I think he's got 45 fantasy point upside, whereas I don't really see Okongwu getting there in limited minutes. So yeah, for me it would probably be Trey Young, the only real priority from the Hawks. I could see myself getting to just a little bit of Capella, just because I think he's got upside for a $5,900 price tag. John Collins actually looks decent point per dollar, 27 fantasy points at 5,200. He's an okay, not great play. I actually have one share of DeAndre Hunter. I don't feel strongly about DeAndre Hunter at 5,000. Not somebody I'm really trying to get in a ton of lineups. And I guess DeJounte Murray, you can always play some DeJounte Murray. Bogdan can always get hot. So playing 26 minutes, he's fine, I guess. But yeah, the only real priorities here are, I guess, just Trey Young is the only priority from the Hawks. How about you? Any differences there?
Yeah, I'm not really getting any Hawks players. It's just kind of the blowout. There'll be some tournament stuff for me, but it's really not a priority.
Even Trey Young.
Even Trey Young.
They're projected for 127 points tonight.
Yes,
that's their line.
And I think a lot of that is going to come from their bench.
Okay.
I don't see the Spurs really sticking with them on the back-to-back.
Probably not. Yeah.
Double OT.
Reasonable concern.
I hate to lean on that, and now we're dancing towards blowout factor, but this feels like an appropriate one to mention for blowout factor.
Yeah. It's definitely worth mentioning.
Oh, good times. Good times. Ready for our next one?
Yeah.
And That was buying me time to get back to my run sheet here. Reminder, everybody. Ooh, here's a good one. So we'll talk about PrizePicks for the last 30 minutes. So at 7:01, we're going to switch over there and give you some plays. We're going to talk about some of their Super Bowl promos that they have over there. But I want to remind you, we just recently launched a new PGA-specific YouTube channel. It's the ODDSSHOPPER Golf Channel. Don't forget to check it out. It's going to have all of our regular golf content with the usual crew of golf analysts, including Ben Rasa, former Iowa State golfing legend Eric Supershank Lindquist, Eitan Shander, and more. This is going to be your home for PGA betting picks, course and player analysis, parlays, one-and-done picks. I like playing in the one-and-done pool, so I'm glad I could find that information over there so you guys can check that out. I'm also going to tell you how you can get 30 free days of Stokastic Premium for free. All you got to do is go into the link below us here in the YouTube description or be logged into your Stokastic account. You do not have to have an active Stokastic subscription, but once you're in the Stokastic site, if you click on either the link below us here or one of the BetMGM buttons, that's going to take you on over there to BetMGM, and you can create your account. Here's the deal. You create an account, put in $10, make that bet. As soon as that bet settles, doesn't matter what the bet is, doesn't matter whether you win or lose, but they're going to give you a promo code that gets you 1 free month of Stokastic Premium. That bet also has bet insurance up to $1,000 if you want to put that in, but you only have to do 10. But if you want to do 100, say you do 100 with your first bet, you lose that 100, they're going to give you some bet credit to give you a second chance to get after that good winning feeling. That's what it's all about. And plus using Stokastic, pretty good deal there. Let's get on to our next game here, Neil. We've got everybody about to hit the like button, and I'm feeling everybody is now hitting the like button. Ooh, super chat here from Corey Shea. Let's talk about this real quick. Jokic and Davis on DraftKings. So this is the counterpoint to Brajal's question. Jokic and Davis on DK, what are some value plays you might put around them? What's a contrarian play you may consider?
It's a good question. I mean, they're both great plays on DraftKings as well. Obviously love that game, that Lakers versus Warriors game environment, the two highest paced teams in the league playing against each other, always fun. We've got some decent value from that game. We can throw Malik Beasley or Jared Vanderbilt, both project pretty well point per dollar alongside Anthony Davis. As far as value goes, I mean, Colin Sexton is going to be a big part of a lot of my lineups tonight. Anthony Davis, is he power forward eligible or is he center? No, he's center. So you can't play Mark Williams in that lineup. So that takes away one of our, actually a few of them.
Oh, you can play two of them. You can play two centers with that utility slot. But
but he said he's already playing Jokic and Davis. So he's got them covered. So then, Colin Sexton would probably be in that lineup for me. I think I can say that pretty safely. As far as other value options, let me look. Yeah, Devontae Graham is fine. I don't feel that strongly about Devontae. Actually, in a blowout, do you think Devontae Graham maybe sees more run in a blowout? Like, he's not particularly young.
No, not with Keldon Johnson and Trey Jones back. I think we'll just go deeper in the bench. Oh, more than his 24. I don't see him playing. I don't see Devontae Graham playing more than 28 minutes tonight.
Okay. Yeah, probably not.
So yes, a little bit more than the 24, but could he play 16? Sure.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going on with Coach Greg Popovich?
Yeah. So I think Colin Sexton would be probably my first guy into that kind of a lineup. After Sexton, I mean, Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt, as I said, both fairly inexpensive. I think they would be guys I'd consider. KCP at shooting guard, 4,400, projects pretty well there. I'd probably throw him in there. You can consider Max Strus, looks pretty good, point per dollar, not like a high priority for me, but it's a nice matchup with the Magic at 3,900. He looks like an okay value. You could also go back to Vlatko Konchar, looks like a decent value for the Nuggets. Bruce Brown looks he's 5,100. He's a relative value there. Do you see any priorities for you, EMac?
No, aside from that, not particularly.
Yeah, I think those are a lot of our best values. I mean, our two best values on the entire slate are both centers, so that makes it tough when you put both those guys in there. But I do like the idea because those two centers are going to take up so much of the field's ownership. I do like I like the idea of spending up for both Jokic and Davis, and then using some of these other values a little bit. So I do like that idea.
Yeah, and so I ran. I'm just playing 120 lineups there on DK, so I'm just sort of accepting whatever's going to happen. And I'll go back and fix them after the show because it's going to be tight here in the next 16 minutes. But I will say players that were really popping up in my lineups were Collins, Colin Sexton, THT, in addition to Jokic and Davis.
Yeah, I think I might have omitted THT. I'm not sure if I said it, but THT also projects really well point per dollar. Both shooting.
Well, we've got another super chat talking about him, Neil.
Oh,
are you ready?
Yeah,
pick 3. This is FanDuel, but it translates relatively well for DraftKings. Pick 3, THT. I would say yes. He's one of the 4. There's 4 choices, so we're going to keep him. We're going to keep Terrence Davis, I think. We're going to set Trey Lyles aside, and I'm going to go with Max Strus.
Are those the
those are our 4?
So we're picking 3 out of 4.
Eliminate 1. THT, keep. Strus, I think keep. Terrence Davis, that's a good question. DK, he's really coming up in a lot of my lineups. Lyles needs a couple things to go right for him to get more than I don't have his projection. I'm guessing we're probably, what do we have him for, about 16 to 18 minutes? If you have that page up.
Yes, we have him up for 16 and a half, where you're right there.
Okay. For him to really get going, I think he needs 22 minutes. And this is a tougher matchup. Doncic is going to be back tonight. Ball dominant. We know one of the slowest offenses in the league. Guess who's with him? Kyrie. They're playing together for the first time. Could they be running things a little slow, doing a little your turn, my turn, whatever it is that they're going to do that doesn't get us up and down games that we really need to see from Trey Lyles to get that late night West Coast hammer magic? I don't see it in this one. So he would be the guy that would fall out for me. Not like I'm doing cartwheels for Terrence Davis, but at least he does have a little bit more offensive ability and the ability to play guard and shooting guard and small forward, which helps out to replace Malik Monk. So that would be my take on that. Look at that. Maybe we don't have to do so much talking about the old Sacramento Kings when we get there in just a moment. Yeah. All righty. Officially our next game. I don't know what to do with this one. Chicago, 5.5 point underdogs in Cleveland, taking on the Cavs. Evan Mobley is in my lone lineup over there on Yahoo. That's really all I've got from this entire game. I'm looking at my 120 DK lineups. Did I get anybody from this game? I got Evan Mobley on 6% of my lineups, DeRozan, Garland, and Isaac Okoro on less than 1%. That means they're on 1 of my 120. That's all I got from this game. Everybody's healthy for the moment, seems to be. What do you want to do with this one?
I think I'm with you. I'm looking at.
I hope for food poisoning from someone, maybe.
Yeah, maybe
before lock. Before lock, not after. But before.
Of course, we got to find out. Yeah, I'm not seeing anybody from the Bulls who made it into any of my lineups. Vooch going up against the Twin Towers in Cleveland, not going to be his strongest opportunity here. I currently don't have anybody from the Bulls in any of my lineups, and don't think I'm going to do anything to change that. As far as Cleveland goes, I've got maybe 1 or 2 shares of Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. Maybe Jared Allen. I'll give him just a little bit of a boost. I wouldn't mind getting to a little bit of Jared Allen at 3.5% ownership. Always live for a double. Could exceed his projection, but not a priority. Darius Garland, I guess you could play, but not a huge priority. It's not a very exciting game for us. If you want to save some time, I think that pretty much sums it up. Evan Mobley looks pretty good. Donovan Mitchell looks okay. Nobody else really is a priority in that game.
All right. Lakers and Golden State, the ABC Saturday night game of the night. No LeBron James, out with a sore ankle. So that was a bit of a surprise. I thought for sure we would see him here tonight. He was my featured guy. I wrote up in the free DFS building blocks article that's on the homepage every day of Stokastic. Yet about an hour and a half after that posted, he was out. I think this does boost Anthony Davis a little bit. I am expecting that we see D'Angelo Russell, Jared Vanderbilt, and Malik Beasley play tonight. I haven't seen any indication otherwise. They need some bodies. I think they're all in trades that have been consummated. shall we say, and they should be available. I think this could even elevate Russell into the starting lineup. I didn't know if he'd be in the starting lineup right off the bat, but I think the absence of James and obviously no Pat Beverly, Westbrook setting him aside because he wasn't going to be in starting lineup. But I think this moves Russell into the starting lineup. So I like Russell. I like Davis. I'm okay with Rui Hachimura today because I just don't know what's going to happen with Vanderbilt. This would be a slam dunk spot for Beasley and Vanderbilt if we knew what the hell was going to happen. This is a good matchup. There's minutes available, but they haven't really been with the team for very long. So what is your take on this one? Because there's a lot of fantasy goodness in this one with 235.5 point total.
Yeah, I would say of all the games, this is the one that terrifies me the most because I currently have 62% Malik Beasley, 53% Jared Vanderbilt. Like, that's a lot of those two guys. I only have 9% Anthony Davis. Maybe I'll give him just a little bit of a boost because he's, I think, the one guy you can count on at least playing for the Lakers.
Anthony Davis on the way to the locker room. You just spoke that into existence.
Right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, you can never feel that
Rocking
confident playing Anthony Davis. That is a great point. Yeah, saying confidence and Anthony Davis in the same sentence, it just doesn't belong there. But he's probably going to at least. I'm fairly confident that he's going to start the game. I guess I'll say that. Yes. So I think that I have some interest in Anthony Davis, but yeah, it's hard to know if these guys are going to be available. I should actually have we got any kind of they're in our projections as available. I want to see if we have any like confirmation, if we have any what the latest
have plenty of time to react if they aren't. I haven't seen anything that makes me think they're not going to be in, and usually teams are pretty clear about waving them off. It just feels like they're going to play tonight.
Yeah, and I mean I'm seeing tweets from 2 days ago that they were already in the building so like if they're already there, then they've had some time to acclimate. Yeah, I think that it's pretty safe that they're all going to be in this game. So the latest Yes. So that was on February 8th. D'Angelo Russell, Jared Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley expected to make Lakers season debut Saturday. So we're expecting them to debut tonight. No official confirmation, but that's good enough for me. We just got the Warriors lineup. Interesting. It's as expected.
You want to read that off?
It is Poole, Thompson, Wiggins, Draymond Green, Looney.
Okay. That makes sense.
So I think that's as expected. Yeah, I mean, it scares me just because it is the second to last game on the night, and if something goes wrong here, we gotta really have to change something around. But Beasley, Vanderbilt, both look like great point per dollar options. Beasley's just 4,400, Vanderbilt at 4,000. I think D'Lo is in play at 7,300 against the Warriors. As I said, it's such a fast-paced matchup that anybody who's getting significant minutes and is a decent fantasy producer is going to be in play. So Beasley, Vanderbilt, I like quite a bit. Davis looks like a solid play. Certainly, obviously has great upside here. And then D'Lo, I do think, is in play at 7,300 as well. Revenge spot against the Warriors. I'm sure he has a lot of vengeance in his heart. So hopefully D'Angelo Russell plays a little bit.
Well, it's a revenge. It's a combination revenge. Remember me, because remember he was the second overall pick for the Lakers.
I know. Yeah, he's back
years ago or whatever.
The team that drafted him. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you think LeBron should be a good resource for Scottie Pippen Jr., right? Dealing with a teammate who slept with your mom, he can give him some insight on that. The Malik Beasley.
Yeah.
Larissa Pippen.
Larsa. Yeah. No, Scottie Pippen. So I said on the show yesterday, Gorgie Jang was my favorite player for a number of years. Scottie Pippen was like my obsession during my childhood. Like he was like
really?
My favorite player, but it was like to an intense level. Like he was by far my favorite player in the NBA for like 3 or 4 years in my preteen, early teen days. Loved Scottie Pippen. So yeah, it'll be fun. Hopefully it can be a good influence on Scottie Pippen Jr. And then going back to the game, the Warriors. Jordan Poole, the price keeps going up and it's still not enough at 7,500. He just shoulders so much of the load with Steph out. He projects for over 41 fantasy points at 7,500. Again, great game environment too. Very fast-paced team. So hard not to like some Jordan Poole. The field's playing him about 19% as well. So it's not like he's going to be sneaky, but definitely a good play. You can play a little bit of Jonathan Kuminga, I guess. We've got him projected right at 20 and a half fantasy points at 3,600. There's obviously upside for more, so he's a fine play. I don't think I'm going to give Kevon Looney, who's actually the best point per dollar play for the Warriors. He's just center only. I don't think he has the upside that some of the other value centers have. So probably not going to Kevon Looney, but Kuminga maybe a little bit. Poole certainly going to make it to a number of my lineups. I'll have some interest in Andrew Wiggins. He's 6,300. We've got him projected just fine for a $6,300 player, but he can spike an upside. DiVincenzo looks fine, projects for just at 5x, so he can get him into your player set. I think he's a fine play, and he's only projected for 8.4% ownership. Draymond, always a fine play, 6,500, projected for 33 fantasy points. And then Clay, I guess he would be my number 2 prize, probably Jordan Poole, followed by Clay at 8,000. You just never know. With no Curry there, Clay can just get hot and put up a 50 burger, with not surprising anybody. So I do like Clay a bit as well.
All right, so we got 6 minutes to go. How are we doing on lineup uploads for you, sir?
I have uploaded some lineups. They're never going to be. I'm never concentrating as much as I would if I weren't on a show, but I think they're good.
All right, so we're not looking at sheer terror and panic yet.
Right? Exactly.
Okay, so I'm gonna get mine uploaded here in just a sec. What is and I've just got FanDuel up. What is Jordan Poole's price on DK?
Poole is at 7,500 on DK.
Okay, I think he's 78 here on FanDuel. Let me get back over there. 7,800 on FanDuel. So it's an interesting price point here. Davis, I think, is good. Getting a ton of Bruce Brown. Benedict Mathurin is sliding in here because he's got shooting guard, small forward eligibility. 4,400. He's someone I did want to mention. He had like 5 really crappy games, but he was kind of playing the same tough defenses, Miami, Cleveland, etc., that were sort of hampering Tyrese Halliburton. So I think he's kind of okay. That terrifies me that I have that much of him. We got a quick super chat here. Jared Vanderbilt or Kelly Olynyk on FanDuel. I would lean towards Olynyk only because I feel a little bit more confident in his playing time and what he's going to do. Vanderbilt's a wild card. I don't hate it. I don't think it's wrong. If I saw somebody had a whole bunch of Vanderbilt, I wouldn't say, oh, you're going to have a horrible night. I'd say, could be terrifying. He won't shoot the ball, but he could get a whole bunch of rebounds.
Yeah. What are the price tags there?
We've got Vanderbilt is at 48 and Olynyk is at 49. And this is the super chat here for
you like
Pierre.
That's interesting. So I have a lot more Vanderbilt than Olynyk on DraftKings. That's interesting that you like Olynyk that much better. I guess I have a similar amount. So I've got, so Olynyk is 4,800, projected for 27 on DraftKings. Vanderbilt is he's 4,000. So that's the reason he's so much cheaper. I'm getting a lot more Vanderbilt. And he is, I guess that's right. We do actually have Olynyk projected better. So yep, adds up.
All right. Beal, Turner, or Poole DK tiers. I would go Poole, Beal, and then Turner. So just raw points for DK.
Yep. Agreed.
All right. Now I'm panicking. Give me un momento here, good sir, so I can upload my lineups. The last game of the night, we didn't quite get there, but we sort of hit on it a little bit. We don't really know what's going to happen as Kyrie and Doncic start to learn to play together. This is a back-to-back. We saw this very same game last night. Sabonis is banged up. Fox looks reasonable and Monk is out. That means the cast of thousands of their wing players could get a little cookie. You could see Harrison Barnes. It could be Kevin Huerter. I think we could see Davis in there. What is your thought on the last game as I panic upload my lineups here?
You go ahead and upload those. Yeah. So currently we have Sabonis in our projections, which now I'm rethinking. Maybe I should be saving some spots for whoever would open up if they are eligible outside of the center. So currently with Sabonis in there, nobody looks like a priority. I actually don't have anybody from the Kings. Terrence Davis would probably be the most interesting if you wanted to play someone from the Kings. We're projecting him for just under 20 minutes. He's a little over a fantasy point per minute guy. So probably Terrence Davis would be the most interesting play from the Kings. Although, I mean, De'Aaron Fox, always somebody you can consider playing at 9,000 at 9% ownership, looks fine. Sabonis, if he plays, will certainly be interesting. I think not many people are going to get there. He's 10,000, of course, can always spike an upside. But none of these guys, huge priorities from the Kings in this matchup. And then as far as Dallas goes, I'm getting just a little bit of Luka. As I said, he projects 10 fantasy points worse than Jokic, and he is more expensive than Jokic on DraftKings. So not a huge priority, but it's a great matchup with Sacramento. And he's only projected for 11% ownership. So there's some reason to get to some Luka. Outside of Luka, really nobody looks all that great for Dallas. You can always consider playing Kyrie. We've got him at 0.1% ownership on DraftKings. You never know. Things can go weird. Kyrie can show off a little bit his first game with Luka. Wouldn't be that surprising. So if you want to play some of that narrative with Kyrie, but he's just from a raw stats perspective, he's just not projected well enough to really be somebody to consider at 10,400. Yeah, I don't think I'm playing anybody from Dallas outside of I have one share of Luka right now, which maybe I should consider getting more. Do you have a thought on Domantas Sabonis? So if Domantas Sabonis does not play, who do you think would start for?
That is where Lyles comes into play. 4 more minutes. I don't know who starts. I don't even know who they have left there. Rashawn Holmes is probably lurking. Let's go over to that. And yes, I got my lineups in barely. Why was it barely? Well, because I'm doing FanDuel now, and for some reason I land them in one column over where I should copy them in, and I didn't highlight yellow where I needed to land it today.
Oh no,
so it was a little terrifying.
I've been there. It's the worst.
We're in. So Metu, I don't know that he would start. I could see him starting Lyles. It's not going to be Alex Len. Probably Rashawn Holmes would start, would be my guess, but you're going to see Metu, Lyles, Holmes. I don't think Alex Lynn. They've got bodies, but we've seen all of them have moments
right
this year and last year.
Fantasy producers. Rashawn Holmes just 0.77. I actually thought he was better than that fantasy points per minute typically, but if he starts, man, he's center only though, so that is kind of tough. We just locked a lot of our center with the Denver Charlotte game locking there. That's a good amount of my center spots. We're just locked up in that game, but debating whether it's worth, even thinking about holding off a spot just because Rashawn Holmes will be, or whoever starts. It was Rashawn Holmes, Trey Lyles, whoever does get the start. And it was Rashawn Holmes the last time out. Whoever does get the start is going to be super low owned if Sabonis doesn't play. So it's at least worth considering in a large field GPP that these guys are going to be really low owned. And certainly I think both Rashawn Holmes and Trey Lyles have the ability to really spike an upside for that price tag. So, it's at least worth thinking about holding off a spot for these guys.
All right. I see we have one more. Sorry, I missed the super chat. Tier 4 on DK. DeJounte. Did that game start already? No. Okay. So you got DeJounte Murray, De'Aaron Fox, or Brunson.
DeJounte Murray, De'Aaron Fox, or Brunson.
Former University of Washington stalwart going against his old team, DeJounte Murray. That would not be the reasons why I'm picking him. I'm leaning to, I would go Murray first, Fox second. Fox third, Brunson second.
Yeah, we have them all projected within one fantasy point of each other. We have, just by the slimmest of margins, De'Aaron Fox number 1, Jalen Brunson number 2, DeJounte Murray number 3. Did you say, is this for tiers or what is the?
Yes, it's for tiers. They are in the 4th tier of DraftKings.
Okay. I'm trying to think if there's anything like its value going to open up. Like, is one of these guys going to become more valuable?
No, because the only other
Well, De'Aaron Fox with Domantas Sabonis out. If Domantas Sabonis is out, De'Aaron Fox could get more usage. And he's already our highest projected. I think I'm leaning Fox. And we have the blowout concerns with Murray. I think that I would go Fox.
All right. There you go. Dissenting opinions.
I
don't think you can go wrong with Fox or Murray. I wouldn't dislike having Fox. I ended up with him on a ton of my lineups here. He ended up being on 38% of my FanDuel lineups. If that means anything, that's quite a bit. I think we had him for like 15% on the field. So woohoo! It's going to be a fun.
What Fox's usage is with Sabonis out, because that might be somebody that I would consider bumping under with the hope that Sabonis does sit. Like that's somebody that I might consider getting into some lineups, but I'm gonna have to look.
Let's see. Fox, if Sabonis is off, has a usage of why did not 30%. Fox with Sabonis on has a usage of, I bet it's 26. Ooh, 28. So it just goes up a little bit. His fantasy points per minute go up a tiny bit.
Yeah, I've got him at a little bit over 4 fantasy points per 36 more on average without Sabonis. So that's significant if we're expecting him to play 36 minutes, 4 extra fantasy points. I'm kind of thinking about maybe I need to try to work Fox into some lineups, like maybe save some salary or save a spot here or there for De'Aaron Fox, just for that possibility that Sabonis sits. What do you think? Oh, is EMac frozen? Jordan, can you hear me? Sorry. Yeah. Okay, so EMac is frozen. Okay, so it's not me. I was thinking that's I think the last 3 live shows that I guess not today with Greg, but the last 3 live NBA shows that I've done, somebody has frozen in the middle of it. Yesterday it was me during Live Before Lock, so I'm glad it's not me this time. But I'm currently giving myself a boost for De'Aaron Fox because I think that's actually a good idea. Like we're trying to find low-owned players who might pick up some value. I kind of think that I have some interest in De'Aaron Fox. Man, now I guess I'm taking over as the host now with no EMac. I don't know what to do, Jordan. Let's see. Well, okay, I guess I'll answer this poll first. Will EMac get his lineups in before lock? I think we already saw him do it, so sadly I can't answer in the negative there. Yeah. Malachar says you're a demand now, Neil. Yeah, I guess I'm the captain of this ship with no EMac here. I should pull up. I was just actually asked on Twitter if we can play PrizePicks here in Minnesota, and I believe the answer is yes. So I can pull up my PrizePicks app. I thought EMac would be pulling up his, but let me pull up my PrizePicks app and we can start looking at some of the plays on the board. Hang on one second. Unless, do we have any other super chats to get to, Jordan? Okay, cool. Okay, can they hear you on the stream? Oh, okay, you're just talking to me and I'm talking to them and they think I'm talking to nobody. That's fun. All right, I'm gonna pull up my PrizePicks info, PrizePicks NBA prop tool. Oh, and you've got it up on the screen. Yep, so as you can see on the screen, Nikola Jokic, Michael Porter Jr. look pretty great, and not a huge shock there. We lost some players from Denver. We're gonna get, I guess we got the under on Jokic, so it doesn't apply there, but we've got the over on 5 rebounds from Michael Porter Jr. Probably gonna be more involved with no Aaron Gordon there. Yeah, the under 14 is just a very high line for Nikola Jokic, so makes sense that we like the under there. Yeah, I mean, let me look what we have on the screen.
All righty, I'm back. Sorry about that. We had like a brownout and it took out our internet. So, but it all of a sudden everything came back, but I could see the router going through all the blinking lights. I'm like, I can't abandon you in your time of need, Neil. Come on.
I appreciate you coming back, EMac, because I was not really prepared to take over. I was like, I guess we can look at PrizePicks, and yeah. So I'm glad you were back here to talk a little PrizePicks.
Well, let me call up a few other things here, and I will we will jump on in. Key thing about PrizePicks, one, they're awesome. I love playing there. Play there almost every day. You're not going against mass multi-inch, or you're not going against the Sharks. It's you against the questions they put up there. They have all sorts of fun little things they do throughout the week. On Tuesdays, they do Taco Tuesday, where they'll put up 2 or 3 different plays throughout the day, where they give their line like a 20% haircut, and then you can put up to $25 on those. I like to make $5 wagers, usually doing 2 or 3 entry wagers $20 when I do that. For the Super Bowl, they're doing flash sales today where they're doing that. And they also have a Mahomes static prop up there as well that you can put up to $25 on. What else do they do that's fun? On Flex Fridays, they give you up to $20 back on your flex wager. If you pick all NBA players from that night, you can do a 6X, and that would be or a 6 card that would be $20, and it's worth $500 because it's 25X. And if you lose, they give you $20 in site credit. Those funds come out of your account first into the next cards that you build. So it's a lot of fun. They've got a Discord over there where you can vote on some of their taco contests. They also do for big events. I'm sure they'll do something silly for the Super Bowl, for the like the national. I can't remember what they've done. They've done so many of these promos, but they'll do show like they did for, I'm making this up, but for the Super Bowl tomorrow, they may say, give us the closest total yardage for Mahomes and Hurts passing plus rushing and touchdowns, and show us a screenshot in the Discord of you betting on one of them in one of the cards, and the 25 closest to whatever that aggregated number is will get a free $50 6X card to try to win, right? So they'll do stuff like that all the time. So it's a lot of fun over there to check that stuff out. So I really, really like it. We have free projections here for NBA that looks at their NBA cards or props. If you have our projections, they have FanDuel scoring for basketball, so 3 points for steals and assists. For football, it's full PPR, so DraftKings scoring, no yardage bonuses, right? So you know your scoring system. And hockey, it's a magic blend of whatever they want, so you got to be careful on their hockey stuff. But you can turn any of our statistical projections into what you see over on their site. So it's a lot of fun. I've a lot of enthusiasm here because I really like PrizePicks. It's a good time playing that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get into PrizePicks. I saw Josh has been getting into it. For the longest time I've thought that I couldn't in Minnesota because we can't place bets. So I had assumed that it was the same rules here. My assumption though is that I actually can play at PrizePicks, and I need to double check.
So the good thing for
signing in.
Yeah, the nice thing for PrizePicks is they are available in most states that do not have sports wagering. Not all of them. I give sports wagering here in Virginia, and I've got PrizePicks, so I've got the best of both worlds. I know that they aren't available in New Jersey, but they are where they have sports wagering. But they are available, like in California, where they don't have sports. Right, so you can get them in a variety of sites or a variety of states. So you can always check that out if you sign up with the promo code AWESEMO, or go through the link in the description below us here. When you sign up, 1, you will get a deposit bonus up to $100 with your first deposit, and 2, come in through our link or use our promo code, you'll get 30 free days of premium content here. So like tonight, right now, they've got it's good. I'm glad I looked at this. 4.5 hours left on the Patrick Mahomes Super Bowl wager. Will he get more than half a passing yard? You can put that up into $25 worth of entries. I don't know what let's see if I can find their current flash sale right now has 1 hour and 40 minutes left. This is first half. Why, yes, they do have first half, first quarter, and second half bets props for football. Right now, AJ Brown yardage has been reduced from 34.5 to 26.5. You can put up to $25 on that wager. The only rules are you can't use a player in the same card twice, and you got to pick players from 2 different teams. Okay. Pretty easy. You can do same game parlay cards in that as well. Right now, they've got second half, first half NBA, full game NBA, college basketball, NHL soccer, whatever the hell Valorant is. I'm assuming that's a video game, Australian basketball, CSGO, tennis, MMA, Rocket League, League of Legends, NFL season long. So you want to get in on some stat wagers. You know, right now the over under for Patrick Mahomes, 4,805 yards. He's been over 5,000 before, folks, including this year. What do you think he's going to get next year? You can get in on some of this. So their Super Bowl wagers are off the hook, Neil. Right now, they have beefed it up. 3rd down conversions allowed. Didn't know that was a fantasy little thing, but you can do that now. 4th down conversions allowed. Passer rating, sacks, tackles and assisted tackles, tackles for loss, rushing attempts, receptions, receiving yards. This feels an off. Quarterback hits, that's a new one. just feels an awful lot like a sports book. Hey, what do you know? Placebo effect and all. But you can't go one for one card. So you got to go at least 2, go up to 6. But they have flex options and what they call power play. So if it's a flex, like if you have a 5-player, 5-question card and you do it flex, you get 4 right, you double your money.
Beautiful.
You get 10x it. And if you get 3 correct, you get 40% back. We don't go nice. 5 for 5.
You don't have to get them all right.
You get bupkis back.
That's awesome.
So it is a lot of fun. EMac drunk. No, EMac happy. I'm drinking
EMac
coffee right now. Yeah, this is good. Well, the power didn't go out. The internet's back. Neil tipping back. Ooh, is that a stout of some sort?
This is a stout. Yeah, it is from Summit. It's a Summit stout. It's local Minnesota beer. Very good.
Nice. I think I've had 7 beers in the last year. My stomach and beer don't get along anymore, but I do like this. I can drink stouts. But if you have more than 2 of them, you feel really full. So
that's true.
my party days are long gone. They're really long gone.
Actually, part of the reason I drink beers on these shows is for the calories. I'm like, just it'll put me, because we go until 6:30 here, and I'm like, then I'm kind of hungry by then. So I'm like, yeah, let's have a beer for some calories during the show. It's great.
And it looks very distracting if you're trying to eat chips or crackers or something.
Right. So, yeah, exactly.
It's okay. Take a drink every now and then. That's okay. If you're chewing or whatever. Yeah, that doesn't work out. That doesn't work out. Terry's asking, what time is the EMac and Friends show before the big game tomorrow? We had to cancel that. So,
really? I didn't know that.
Apparently producer Jordan is going to a party of some sorts, and he has to get dressed up and ready. So
doesn't care about the people.
No, but we do have our content starting at 1:30 tomorrow. You're going to get 3.5 hours of Super Bowl content. We already have a dozen articles up on the sites here for free between OddsShopper and Stokastic. I've got my Super Bowl article up. I'm assuming, is yours up yet, or are you posting?
I posted my Super Bowl article today. I've done my my VODs on how I'm setting my fantasy cruncher. Last I checked, the FanDuel one, which I just did this afternoon, what was not up yet, but the DraftKings one is up already on our channel. So yeah, plenty of content from us. And Greg and I just did a full breakdown of the game earlier today as well. So if you're looking for Super Bowl content, check that out.
Yeah, and if you want to look for props, you can listen to, and I've been listening to various podcasts. We got the OddsShopper mentioned. We got the OddsShopper Golf channel that's just starting up on YouTube. I'm sure that will have its own podcast feed as well. But I've been listening to Laffy and Aton have been putting out stuff. I've started with it must be Wednesday or Thursday's content. Laffy's best effing bets is what I've been listening to now. Who is the best PrizePicks play tonight? That is from Andrew. So I'm going to put the link into chat here where we have our free PrizePicks prop tool. And anybody can get to this. You can go to stokastic.com. Up at the top, look for NBA, and then pick the drop down, scroll down to player props and betting, and you will see Bet Pro. That is our premium subscription, which is just raking in the cash these days. By the way, the price on that going to go up. It's been so successful. Alex is up $37,000 since
really?
it launched. Yes, he put a tweet out yesterday or the day before. It's treating me pretty well. I'm happy with that, and I'm a little more conservative, but Greg and Sean's on and all those guys are utilizing that. So we can look over here at the tool, and what it will pop up here is you just get one page, and I think I put that in the chat. Yep, I did. Okay, so what you've got here right now, you can see the expected win. So all we care about on PrizePicks, there's no minus 120, plus 118. There's none of that, right? It's either yes or no, whatever the item is. So right now, the best expected win is Donovan Mitchell going under 5 assists. Ooh, so you can have ties. Yes, you can have ties on PrizePicks, right? So you don't have ties on Sportsbook, right? Unless you're playing soccer, and then you got to bet on. You got to select that as the option, the draw, if you will. But with Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, those are our 2 best picks right now, both of them under assists for their respective numbers. If you pick Mitchell and you say over or under, and he gets exactly 5, all that happens is that comes out of your parlay card. you're not penalized for it. If you had a 2-question card, it does become invalid because you have to have at least 2 questions live. But if you had a 5-question card, it would become a 4-question card, or a 3 would become a 2, and then it would adjust to the particular pricing. So they want you to have fun over here on PrizePicks, and they're like, hey, what happens if there's a tie? Well, if you miss one leg on your sportsbook parlays, you're out of luck, right? PrizePicks wants you to have a little bit of fun here. So if we look at these, some of the ones I like to look at here, I start with these. Most of these are going to be around 64, 65, 66% probability of success, be it for the over or the under. You're going to get about 3 to 10 of those, depending on the size of the slate and where they are. And then you're getting, you're going down lower in some of the other ones. This is just showing the statistical categories that are available. This doesn't show combined statistical categories. It also does not show the fantasy points, right? Those, well, one, this is free, so have fun with this. But 2, you can easily set that up. I just download our projections. I have a little Excel column or template. I put it in where it gives me points plus assists, or points plus rebounds, or rebounds, points, and assists. That's why I told you about the hockey thing, where I go do the hockey fantasy projections, etc. I just have a little formula set up. So I just download our stuff and take a peek at it, and then figure out what I want to do. The fantasy points, usually you can find a little bit of an advantage there. It's not across the board, because you got to think about who has turnovers and who gets steals and blocks. The steals and blocks are worth 3 here. So if you look at the PRA, the points, rebounds, and assists, compare that with the fantasy points, and sometimes you can arbitrage like a little 3 or 4% advantage. I'm ballparking about what it is, but you can one of them will be better than the other, but you can kind of get a flavor for what it is that works better. So if you get, I'm trying to think of somebody who has tons of turnovers, but if you get somebody who has a whole bunch of turnovers, Westbrook pain in the better with the PRA for him, right? Because he doesn't get a ton of steals anymore, and he hits turnovers and very few blocks, but he's going to rack up the points, steals, and assists, or points, rebounds, and assists. So you would look at something like that. So nice. There we go. So 10 minutes to go here. So fire up some of the PrizePick questions. Hit that like button. We still got about 900 people watching. Let's get up to 500. We just get 10% of you hit the like button, and we get up to 400. That would be nice. It says you have to sign up for the Bet Pro tool to access the PrizePick. So did I? Well, I don't believe you do. Depends on how you're trying to get there. I'm going to sign out of Stokastic and see if this works. I am now not in Stokastic. I am going to the link. Oh, you are correct. Perhaps I will have to ask that question if this is premium now or not. It may be. Yes, you can get 7 days free. But that is in the description below us here. You can also get the Bet Pro. So you can check that out as well. Guys, we've had so much success with a lot of this stuff that was free for a long time that it's now, we're out of beta. We've got a nice track record. Some of these are going premium. Some of the stuff on OddsShopper are now going premium. Some of the things here are now going premium. And by the way, some of the premium stuff, we're going to increase the prices. They've been that successful. So this is where we talk about, somebody on the earlier show was saying, I fast forward through all the ads and the reads and them talking about the stuff here in Osmo. Or Stokastic. That's one way you can do it. Another way is listen to how we find little edges, survive, try not to have to redeposit, maybe get to withdraw, maybe get some 1099s, right? This is how you I think
these deals are like the most plus EV thing you can do, right? Like making great plays. It's like you can gain little edges in the way you play DFS and prop betting and stuff, but taking advantage of deals like this is really the best way to find EV. So that's the reason we push these tools, is because obviously we believe in them, and if you can get 7 days for free, and you got to take advantage of that kind of thing.
Yep. And then so Jordan just dropped the link into chat there. So you can get that Bet Pro free for 7 days. Hold on, let me go over. I'll just read off some of these because I hadn't realized we had flipped. Oh, I guess I better log in again to Stokastic. Hopefully this won't make me crash. It's been forever since I logged out. Hopefully it saved my password, because I have no idea what it is. I was on the Lewis. True story. I was on the Lewis and Clark expedition. I was in charge of scanning. That would be the dog that they brought on the expedition.
Look at you with your knowledge of your own personal history.
You mean not everybody middle school had the core of discovery that retraced the Oregon and Washington route of the Lewis and Clark expedition in middle school?
I played Oregon Trail.
You guys weren't a medallion winner for the paper you wrote on this. And when I say wrote, we didn't have typewriters. I wrote by hand because I was in like 6th or 7th grade. Internet didn't exist. We didn't have an electronic typewriter, nothing like that.
I suppose even Oregon Trail was before your or was after your time.
You know, I was still there, except it was monochrome screens, green, that bluish color or orange.
Okay.
The da-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na. I think that was the little found. I did die of dysentery on the Oregon Trail a few times. we just didn't really have pictures. We had like little green lines that represented the wagon.
Oh no,
etc. All righty. Oregon Trail and there we go. Chat GBT. Is that like a growth hormone? Something or other? No, I know it. I know it's artificial intelligence. I actually know a fair amount about artificial intelligence. Those guys and gals make a lot of money. My job is to determine what people should be made. The day job is got to know a lot about machine learning because that is the wave of the future. Those folks are pretty smart. That and the robotics. All right, so getting over here to PrizePicks. Now that I am logging in, let's see what this says for me. Okay, so I mentioned Donovan Mitchell. Emmanuel quickly under 12.5 points. We have him for 10.3. That is with our latest projection. They probably are taking into account maybe there's been some more news about Jason Hart. That's now up to 67%. Same thing with the under on his rebound. So I guess he's probably coming off the bench, would be my guess. But you can infer some of these. So like here's one. John Collins rebounds over. The number is 6. We have him for 6.9. Do you really want to go with John Collins when everybody's healthy in that Atlanta front court? 6 isn't a big number, but that feels like that could be more of a tie. I'd be happier if it was 5.5.
Yep.
6 means we got to get 7 to win. We have them for 6.9. That means we may tie on that one a lot. So some of these you got to look at. You can't just blindly pick these, but it's fun to check these out. Let's see. What else do we have going on, Neil? I mentioned that BetMGM. You guys can get 1 free month of Stokastic by signing up with BetMGM, making your first bet. If you've come in on our link, our promo code is Platinum Sub. Or if you are signed up in your Stokastic account, you don't have to have an active subscription. But if you're signed in there, you click through one of our links or the link in the description of this YouTube video, go over to BetMGM, create your account. They have now tagged you as coming from us, so they know to give you 30 days, a promo code for 30 days of Stokastic Premium once you have deposited $10 and made your first bet. We talked about PrizePicks. That promo code is Awesemo, $100 deposit match, and another way to get 30 days of Awesemo Premium. And then we have the lineup generator. The lineup generator is pretty awesome. So 50% off the first week and then $8.95 after that. I am going to be building out lineups tomorrow on DraftKings. I've decided I'm going to do 20 on FanDuel and 20 on DK and only use the lineup builder. But you can now select different scenarios on the lineup builder. Jordan, is that something that you can share on the screen? The lineup builder NFL showdown. I'm going to that. So, oops, I went to the wrong page. Where am I at? Lineup builder NFL showdown. Why is it not working? Am I not logged in correctly now? Grr.
I think we should have played some Monty Morris, EMac. 14.5 fantasy points already. He's 5,200.
Sorry, the lineup. Yeah, lineup generator. Sorry, I was going to the lineup builder. The lineup generator. We can click on, let's go on FanDuel. I don't do FanDuel very often I don't really like their showdown format. I don't like just picking 5 players. I'd rather pick 6, and I like the salary thing. But we can choose an ownership setting. We'll just pick contrarian, and then we now have it set up. You can pick 4 different game scenarios. You can pick. Now, this is where people say you get a little bit of confused, but it makes sense. So the top one, it says Philadelphia +6, Kansas City +6. The game is in Arizona, so I'm not totally crazy, right? Yeah, I misread Phoenix and Philadelphia, but there we go. But the game is in Arizona. So what that's saying is, of the 26 implied points for Philadelphia, we're saying they're going to score another touchdown than what Vegas says. And we say Casey's going to score another touchdown than expected. So that gives you a higher than average outcome. So then both teams scoring -6, they're both getting a touchdown less. And then we have it vice versa on touchdown less, touchdown more for each of the teams. These give you different scenarios and parameters. You pick one of those, you can pick, it'll generate your lineups. You hit save on the lineup and it'll put it in the little holding pen for you.
I love that comment from Jordan. Bet you didn't think we'd build NFL showdown lineups on NBA Live before lock. Yeah, no, EMac is he'll surprise you. He'll surprise you from time to time.
But it's the big game tomorrow, Jordan. Of course we're going to do this because this is the coolest thing we have.
EMac,
and while it's not set up yet for single game NBA, I'm pretty sure it will by the playoffs. Just pretty sure it will. So the same concept exists. We've seen people with $50,000 screenshots on the Osmo Hall of Fame segment. We had one guy with 10, one guy with 20, and one guy with 50 in the last week.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome. I'm going to dabble in that pool.
Yeah, he's been crushing it.
Legendary. My apologies for showing everybody your secret fishing hole, but it's right here. It's the lineup generator. It's pretty awesome. So you can see if the lineup's chalky. If it's not chalky, you can click save or discard. If you hit save, it's going to put it in a holding pen. You can save up to 20 lineups, and you can export that as a CSV and then upload that into the sites. Pretty darn cool. Pretty darn cool. So
who are you cheering for tomorrow, EMac?
I am going over to FanDuel. I saw we had a little article up on our site that and if you guys don't find it on our site, you can hit me up on Twitter. I'll have it the link saved. I believe because I have not made a wager on FanDuel, I'm eligible for up to a $3,000 risk-free bet. I haven't read all the fine details, but I think I have to pick a side, either Kansas City or Philly. I think I'm leaning towards Philly. That's so fun, that will be whoever I land on. That will be who I'm rooting for here. So.
Guitar Man says Neil. So I just said in chat that I like the Eagles as a team. The Guitar Man says Neil's line says he likes the Eagles as a team and he is a Vikings fan. We hate Philly. Yeah, we hate Eagles fans. To be clear, Eagles fans, the absolute worst. Hate every single one of them that I don't know personally, with the exception of people, of course, watching the show. Love those guys too. But I like so many of my close friends are Eagles fans. Our producer Mike is an Eagles fan, not our producer today, but our often producer Mike is an Eagles fan. Laffy's an Eagles fan. I love a lot of Eagles fans, but all the other ones that I don't know are just terrible people. But I love the actual team. I love Jalen Hurts. I love the owner of the Eagles. Like it's a fun team to watch. So there's a lot to like about the Eagles. Just not the fans, because they were dicks to Vikings fans when we went to Philadelphia.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's just they're kind of jerks to everybody, but it is what it is. Well, Mama Mac, she informed me that she is looking for a Washington State connection because that's where we're from, and she has chosen Gardner Minshew because he was at Washington State, and my brother went to Washington State. So she said she is rooting for the Eagles. It's funny that she knew he played for the Eagles and was the backup quarterback.
Of course, everybody knows where Gardner Minshew plays. You got to.
So she says, while she thinks Pat Mahomes is a sharp dresser and easy on the eyes, she's choosing Gardner Minshew for tomorrow's game. So there we are. All righty, that does it. Any final thoughts here, Neil, before we slide on out of here?
No, I think we should get out of here. I know that Jordan has plans tonight. He was really hoping that you wouldn't come back and we could just end the show early. So I think we can end it now. It's fun doing a show with you, EMac.
Well, sadly, the coffee's almost gone. So I gotta go get another. I drink the cold brew now. I used to drink about 8 Diet Pepsis a day. I don't drink soda anymore.
Good for you. I really don't either, coffee. For the most part.
Yeah,
just coffee.
And no more beer. I'm running out of vices. At least I have DFS and now sports wagering.
That's right.
But with that, we will get on out of here. You guys can follow Neil over on Twitter at PlayerQDFS. Check out his newest interview with Sean Zahn on the DFS High Stakes podcast. You can find me at EMac DFS. My latest work is posted there on the Stokastic homepage. Free article there for the Super Bowl breakdown by team, by position, full player pool ranking. That's a lot of fun. And of course, you can follow Stokastic at Stokastic_COM. Hat tip to PrizePicks for making this all possible tonight. We're getting it all going again tomorrow at 1:30 with all the NFL Super Bowl big game contest information that you need. With that, gamers, good luck.